Introduction. Great to be with all of you, and gee whiz, I hope you still got your coffee break in there. I nabbed some coffee on my way in. It's pretty good. So if any of you didn't get out there and grab some coffee and think they had some other stuff, please feel free to do it. My speech always goes better if you have something to eat and drink with it, and but I'm serious. Great to be with you, and see the Chairman Fox is here from 3 affiliated tribes, and I know you're here with some of the council members, and I want to give you a special shout out and a welcome. Great to see you. Again, thanks for the introduction, and thanks to Rick Perry. I understand that he's been a mover behind the focus on this energy conference, and also the director of the Office of Indian Energy, Chris DeShaney. Thanks for setting up this event with this focus on energy, and also the rest of the Department of Energy for hosting today's National Tribal Energy Summit. Glad to see, as I say, that some of our North Dakota friends can be here, and I'm going to touch on just some of the great work they're doing in energy in some of my remarks today. It's a privilege to chair the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs and work with Native American leaders from all over the country. And I appreciate what you're doing on behalf of your tribes and your people. I appreciate the opportunity to work with Vice Chairman of the committee, Senator Tom Udall, and I are friends, and I enjoy working with him, and we certainly want to work in a very bipartisan way to do the best possible job, and also to really move some of the bills this year that have been worked on over the recent Congresses and have built some bipartisan support, and we're optimistic and hopeful that we can move that legislation on behalf of Indian country. We have a great opportunity to continue the good work of Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming, my predecessor as chairman, and also John Tester from Montana, another friend who was vice chairman of the committee. Already we've passed 14 bills out of the committee and held 2 oversight hearings, one on infrastructure and another field hearing in my home state of North Dakota. But as I say, we passed 14 bills out of our committee already, and those are bills with bipartisan support. So it's not just passing them out of committee. We really believe that we're going to get them passed across the Senate floor. And we've put that marker out to the members of our committee that if they have legislation, and particularly if they can build some bipartisan support for their bill, bring it to the committee, and we're going to try to get them to the floor as fast as we can and give them the most time possible in this Congress to get that legislation passed through the Senate and over to the House and hopefully ultimately passed into law. As chairman, I want to focus on some areas that are particularly important to Indian tribes and communities, including jobs and economic development. It seems like that's at the top of the list for all of us. Whether it's on the reservation or off, it seems that it always comes back to jobs, economic development, and opportunity for all of our people. Also, health care, a huge issue. I mean, it's a huge issue in the country. It's a huge issue in Indian country. And I really believe that we can do better and more with IHS. And we're definitely going to focus. And I know Secretary Zinke was just here, and we're friends, and I appreciate that he wants to dig in and do a good job on behalf of all of you and others. But we firmly agree that more can be done with Indian Health Services. And, we've looked at the situation where they're turning back dollars, and we're going, wow, with all the needs out there, we've got to have really strong leadership at IHS and make sure that they're doing all they can on behalf of health care on the reservation. So that's clearly going to be an area of focus as well. Energy, another area of focus like we're talking about today. Housing, huge issue on the reservation. We need to do more with housing. Public safety and veterans. And of course, among our Indian people, I think per capita, you have more that serve, more veterans than any other ethnic group in the country. And that is quite an honor and says a lot about you in a very positive way. Do we have any veterans here in the audience today? Stand up if you're a veteran. Stand up. Come on. Show them some love. Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. That is a huge badge of honor. The role of government is to create a positive business climate to spur job creation, economic growth, and more opportunity for all. If we empower Indian tribes and other partners to invest, to innovate, and to create jobs, we'll build a higher standard of living for our citizens across Indian country. One of the ways to attract businesses to Indian country is through energy development, which is what we're here talking about today. The United States energy sector is a major industry that brings jobs and economic activity to millions of families. The energy industry creates high-paying jobs while providing dependable and affordable energy to cool and heat homes, to power businesses, and to provide fuel for our transportation systems. Energy is a keystone industry in our economy, meaning it's one that all the other industry sectors rely on, right? I mean, if you think about jobs, across all industry sectors, they need energy. It's a foundational industry sector. Energy resources such as coal, natural gas, wind, and solar can provide significant revenue to tribes when developed, and tribes should have the same opportunities to develop their resources as any other sovereign nation. According to Department of the Interior data in fiscal year 2014, development of Indian energy resources brought in over $1 billion in revenue to the tribe, over $1 billion in revenue to the tribes. And Indian energy is not one size fits all, right? We can do it in many different ways across the country on many different reservations. Rather, it's a chance to uniquely develop energy resources that fit the tribe's needs. In my home state, the 3 affiliated tribes, Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara, continue to develop the natural resources on their reservation. The director of the 3 affiliated tribes' environmental division, Edmund Baker, has said that they want to develop oil and, quote, do it responsibly, end quote. Do it responsibly, while continuing to show other tribes it can be done successfully. And that's what you're doing. They're a great example of a tribal nation empowering itself through energy development, building on the resources they have, on the opportunities they have. Income generated by oil provides high-paying jobs to tribal members and economic growth for the tribe. North Dakota, our state, people don't realize this, but North Dakota is the second largest oil-producing state in the nation. We produce over 1 million barrels of oil a day. The only state that produces more oil is Texas. And that surprises people. They think, the second one, they think it might be Louisiana or Oklahoma, or a lot of people think Alaska. I think the closest one behind us is like 500,000 barrels a day. Surprisingly, it's probably California. You wouldn't have guessed that. But we produce over 1 million barrels of oil a day. But if the 3 affiliated tribes, just their reservation, Mandan, Hidatsa, Arikara, if their reservation were a state, if let's say we're the 51st state all by itself, it would be the 9th largest oil producing state in the country. They produce a lot of oil. It's a lot of commerce, a lot of industry. It's a big business. And they've grown that. I was governor from 2000 to 2010, and really, I think in 2006, 1 oil well. So it's grown dramatically under the direction of the tribal leaders, Chairman Fox and others. And Chairman Fox, you were the energy director before you were chairman, were you not?
Fred was energy director, I was tax director.
Tax director, and Fred, yeah, okay. So, I mean, this is a huge enterprise that has grown very fast. It's been a lot to manage. Just to the west of North Dakota, the Big Crow metal mine in Montana contains 1.4 billion tons of coal. Tribal Chairman Darren Old Coyote points out that, quote, for the Crow people, there are no jobs that compare to coal jobs, end quote. That's the chairman's quote. In Nevada, the Mawapa Band of Paiute have activated the first 250 megawatt solar farm on their reservation. This is the first solar farm on tribal land, and will produce enough energy to power 110,000 homes. Think about that. This is breaking new ground, a 250 megawatt solar farm. In southern Colorado, the Southern Ute Indians tribe has developed its natural gas and oil resources. Through their subsidiary energy companies, they conduct business in over 10 states, and in the Gulf of Mexico. And they're one of the largest employers in the Four Corners region. In testimony to the Senate, the tribe stated, quote, "These energy-related economic successes have resulted in a higher standard of living for our tribal members. Our members have jobs. Our educational programs provide meaningful opportunities at all levels. Our elders have stable retirement benefits. We have exceeded many of our financial goals, and we are well on the way to providing our children and their children the potential to maintain our tribe and its lands in perpetuity." End quote. So these are some pretty powerful examples. And they also demonstrate that everybody can and should do it their own way. It might be wind, it might be solar, it might be biofuels, it might be oil, it might be gas, it might be coal. It might be something else. You have to build on your natural advantages and what you and your people want to do. So these are shining examples of tribes taking control of their economic security by developing their energy resources. Energy projects create high-paying jobs and bring in revenues to tribal governments. And each tribe should have the opportunity to succeed. Each tribe should have the opportunity to succeed. According to the Government Accounting Office, Indian Country's vast energy resources are largely undeveloped and remain so because of bureaucratic red tape from federal agencies, lack of coordination between federal agencies, and inadequate Bureau of Indian Affairs workforce planning. For instance, a tribal official said it took almost 8 years for federal agencies to review energy-related documents. The tribe estimates that the delay cost the tribe nearly $95 million in revenues. In my home state, it typically requires 4 federal agencies and 49 approvals to get a permit to drill. That can be up to 290 days to get one permit, compared to a couple of weeks off the reservation. Right, Chairman? You have to go through a lot more hoops. That'll make sense. It's not the way it should be. When a tribe can lose up to $95 million because of bureaucratic delays, it's obvious that something's wrong. And that's why I've introduced the Indian Tribal Energy Development and Self-Determination Act of 2017. Co-sponsors on the legislation include Senators Barrasso, Senator McCain, Senator Enzi, Senator Gardner, Senator Langford, Senator Heitkamp, and Senator Moran. So we have good representation here. Wyoming, Arizona, Colorado, Oklahoma, obviously North Dakota, Kansas. This bipartisan bill directs the Departments of the Interior to provide Indian tribes with technical assistance in planning their energy resource development programs. The legislation cuts red tape and makes it easier for Indian tribes to develop their own resources. First, the bill will give tribes a more effective and accessible way to develop their energy resources, including conventional fossil fuels and renewable energy such as wind and solar, and contribute to the goal of greater energy independence for the United States. It authorizes tribes and certified third parties to conduct energy appraisals in addition to the Secretary of Interior. It authorizes the Department of Energy's national laboratories to provide Indian tribes with technical and scientific assistance. And if you haven't been to our national laboratories like Alamos and the others, they're amazing. In this bill, we direct them to provide you with technical assistance for energy development. That could be very, very powerful. It streamlines the process for approving tribal energy resource agreements, or TERAs. It makes the TERA approval process more predictable for the Indian tribe. That gives you more control over that energy development on your reservation. It encourages the formation of joint tribal industry ventures for purposes of developing the tribe's resources without secretarial approval, provided the tribe retains majority owner status and controls the venture. Again, empowering the tribe. It authorizes the FERC to treat Indian tribes in a manner similar to states and municipalities with regard to preferences for permits and original licenses for hydroelectric projects. And it allows the tribal biomass demonstration projects under the Tribal Forest Protection Act of 2004. The The legislation's provisions would lengthen the terms of stewardship contracts with tribes that meet the eligibility requirements of the demonstration projects. That's necessary in order to accommodate biomass projects requiring longer terms for investment purposes, which has been a bottleneck. This bill's been introduced in the past 4 Congresses, okay? It's been introduced in the past 4 Congresses, primarily by the chairman of the committee. Last Congress, it was Senator Barrasso, and before him, Senator Tester, when he was chair in the Congress before him. And it goes all the way back to when Senator Byron Dorgan was chairman of the committee from my state of North Dakota. So it's time to get it passed. And I hope and believe we can and we will this Congress. This Congress. On February 8th, the committee moved this bill. And as I say, I believe that we could get it to the Senate floor. And I believe this Congress, we can get it passed. And so I urge you in joining, talking to your members of the Senate and the House, and encouraging their support for this legislation. Okay, with that, I'll wrap up. Again, I appreciate very much you inviting me to be with you, and I hope I did not cut into your coffee break. The good news for you is now you get to listen to a really dynamic, exciting, intelligent, and outstanding speaker, my ranking member and vice chairman on the Indian Affairs Committee, Tom Udall. And once again, I want to tell you how much I appreciate working with him. He is a true gentleman, and he's somebody, though we don't always agree, we always try to find a way to work together to accomplish as much as we can for people in Indian country and across our country. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your leadership of your respective peoples and for all you do. I look forward to working with you. God